All right, everyone. Last looks. Quiet on set. Roll sound. Sound speed. Roll camera. Camera speed. Scene 1. Take 1. Market. And action. Hi, I'm Ed, the host of Savannah on Film, and we explore the economic and cultural impact and values of the film industry in Savannah through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. You can find us here on WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. Hello, everyone. Hello, the world, and welcome to another exciting, very unusual, but very interesting. I think you're going to find it very interesting episode here of Savannah on Film. We're here on WRUU, Savannah's #1 talk radio and #1 radio station, voted in the latest Connect Savannah poll there. So Savannah loves us. We're still #1, and we appreciate you. Our purpose here is to explore the economic and cultural impact of the film industry in Savannah through conversations with people who work in the industry and related fields. We're here on Savannah's #1 radio station, WRUU 107.5 FM, Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. And if you are on Twitter, you can follow WRUU at WRUU 1075. That's WRUU 1075. If you're a fan of Savannah on Film, we've been doing this since around 2018 and enjoying the show. And we appreciate everybody who's been with us along the way. And we always have very interesting guests. And you can check out our YouTube channel if you'd like. You'll see videos of the show. Of course, we also exist in podcast form. If you're listening on your favorite podcast apps, whether that's Google Plus or Apple Podcasts or whatever you're listening on. We're, of course, on 107.5 FM here every Saturday from 7 to 8 p.m. I guess that's Eastern Standard Time, whatever timeline we're in. We're on that Eastern coast. So anywho, blah, 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 blah. A lot of talking, huh? So what's different about this show? I have someone on the show, actually 2 guests on the show, and one of them has an exciting project, and we have some other projects to talk about. But this particular person is not necessarily in the film industry, but they will be on a network, and we're going to talk about that in a second, okay? And first off, let me welcome my 2 guests. First time to the show. It's Hannah and Chuck Walden from Atomic Dairy. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks. Hello.
And let's see, these 2 teenagers, yeah, are very. First, Chuck. It has. He brought up his daughter Hannah and the rest of the family there. I mean, you're very creative, Chuck. You've done a lot of stuff with Star Wars. You're a big Star Wars fan. I've been to your house and in your garage area, your workstation, and we filmed there. A good friend of mine, Jesse Perry, we did part of one of his films there, and I got the sound mix there, and you were a gracious host, and Thank you for that. And
They have you over.
thank you. And anyway, Chuck does a lot of you've done some, should I call it cosplaying? You've done that, but you do a lot of like creative stuff too. Well, not so much cosplaying, but the creating, taking everyday kind of objects and making them into extraordinary things. And I think if Hannah, along with you, has carried on that tradition.
That's right.
And do you want to tell us a few, just like what kind of got you into creating these things? And believe me, by the way, this is all going to lead to how this connects to film and
no problem.
So.
When I was younger, I had gotten a model rocketry and I started flying rockets, and that got me interested in aerospace and engineering and things like that. And over the years, I just started making things the way I wanted them. And later on, when I became a grown-up and I got my own house, I realized that I could build things in my house and no one could stop me. So I started making things easier for us in the house and more interesting, like our television set that is behind the picture frame. When you push a button, the picture frame moves out of the way to hide the TV. Our laundry room is behind a secret door because, you know, we wanted to keep it secret. And we built a secret door, and no one tried to break in and do laundry anymore because it's hidden. So, but all these little things that we do are mostly because we just want to make our lives easier. And it's really cool to walk in and have the types of things that we built. We've made the house about us. And I'm out here building all the time. And when Hannah was younger, she would come out and she would start doing things. And she's extraordinarily good at all these things, soldering and cutting wood, sanding it, all the things. And we go and we sit down over dinner and we draw on napkins. Let's build this. And we have a list of 70 or 80 projects at any given point. And about 2 years ago, we started a YouTube channel because everybody comes to the house and demands to see the secret door. No one in town knows that it's a secret door. It's the door to go see. Everybody knows about our secret door, but we have a tour where people come over that we take people around the house. Ed, I've given you the tour.
Yeah, I was fascinated. There's so many different things. Like Hannah, talk about the favorite thing that you've created, and on your by the way, I should have mentioned Atomic Dairy, and I want to say diary. We were joking about that before. That's the way my brain sometimes mixes it up, but it's Atomic Dairy on YouTube. That's a YouTube channel, Facebook page. And you mentioned on one of your videos on Atomic Dairy your favorite creation, Hannah, and what was that?
Okay, my favorite creation is called the Technodesk 3. And the reason why it's called the Technodesk 3, it's not that there's 3 generations, there's actually 2, but in the second generation, we made 3 of them. With the intention of like keeping one and selling the others. What ended up happening is my dad Chuck got one, I got one, and one of our friends got the other. And then a different one of our friends got the old one. But what the Technodesk does, a better question is to ask, what doesn't it do? You have 2 drawers that have 120-volt wall outlets in them. So you open the drawer and you can plug in like your phone, laptop. We usually use like the vacuum cleaner, but like you plug it in, you can close the drawer and like have the device in there, or you can have it open and it will still power your device. Doesn't matter. You can use power however you want. There is a place to store your Wi-Fi router, and whenever your internet gets slow and you have to like unplug the router and plug it back in, and how that is like such a modern inconvenience that's annoying all the time. Instead, there is an emergency shut off button where you hold the button and then like an array of LEDs like start dancing, so it tricks like your brain and be like, whoa, those are some pretty lights. So that way like the actual Wi-Fi router can completely shut down and like reset, and when you stop holding the button and it turns back on, wow, the internet works. Of course, there is a party light that paints the ceiling as a need, just has to happen. There's also an antique radio from the 1920s that we hooked up to a weather radio. So whenever you get a weather alert, since we're in like the Savannah area, you get like flash flood warnings, like hurricane warnings, you know, the usual, pretty regularly. It plays through the speaker and it sounds old and like crusty, but like in a cool way. Right. And then there's like a little red indicator light
It's
that
like the
turns on.
gramophones. Is that what they call them? If I remember correctly.
I'm sure there's an actual technical term, but I don't happen to know it. I just kind of
Right.
roll with it.
I'm visualizing it. It's a little like you put the needle on the record, and it's got the horn.
The gooseneck speaker, that's what it's called.
Yeah, we don't have the actual record part, but we have
Right.
the speaker part and the gooseneck. So like it looks pretty interesting. But the little indicator light says run. So whenever you get a weather alert, it's like, oh my goodness, it's time to run away. There's a shredder to shred any unwanted mail. There's also a giant drawer to put mail so you don't have mail piles all over the house. There's another drawer that you can put like a dog leash in. And there's 4 PVC tubes that you can put umbrellas in. There's an indicator that lets you know that mail has arrived to your house. And there's a couple more little things that are more visual, that are more difficult to describe, but we built 3 of them. I was in high school when the project was underway, and when I graduated high school, the project concluded. But with them, I did about half the woodworking and all of the wiring on all 3 of them. And let me tell you, when you build multiple of anything, when you build it the second time, it does not necessarily work. So having to troubleshoot,
or maybe you find a better way to do it, a more efficient way, you know, like, because you're essentially your dad there is Tony Stark. He's Iron Man. So you built the Mark 1, the Mark 2, the Mark 3.
Well, we see the difference between like that is that like Tony Stark made each of those individually, and then what he learned from the first one, he incorporated into the second one. We built all 3 of these at the same time. So like I would install one weather radio and then the next weather radio and then the next one using the same
kind of assembly line doing it, you know, in a way.
It's just me on all of the assembly lines. But
so where do you get your inspiration? It's just, where does it come from? Just curiosity and can I do it? Or why hasn't somebody thought of this already? Is it?
We just think, well, how can we make this process better? And we get that question a lot when people come to the house. Where did you get this idea? Who did you copy? You know, who on Pinterest? And we're like, we didn't. We literally thought of this ourselves. One example is like out here in the shop, I've got French cleats up all around the shop to hang tools on. And I do my tools differently. Most people, when they get a French cleat tool wall, they mount their tool sideways up on the wall because that's how it's displayed on the box and that's how they see it in the store. Well, that's not how you use it. You want to reach up and grab the tool and use it. So I always turn my tools 90 degrees. And so that when you're in my shop, you just grab the tool and walk away because, you know, I'm lazy. I don't want to fight with the tool. I want to focus on the thing I'm making. And I get all these comments in social media. Who did you copy? And I'm like, I just did it because I'm lazy. And it worked. And so many of the things that we do are like the table that sits next to my chair. I've never been a big ice user, but I do like cold drinks, which is kind of a, you know, so we have an automated cooling system built into the table so that you just flip a switch and it cools your drink. And I built that because I wanted a cool drink.
It's just like amazing. When you have an inconvenience, and it's usually nothing major, but it's just like, we needed a garage door sensor, but we didn't want to pay for one. So we made one. We made it look like it was a piece of the of Alderaan, which of course everyone is aware is in episode 4 of Star Wars when the planet blew up from the Death Star. It's a piece of that planet. So it has like all this like rebel insignia to show that like Alderaan was like with the Rebel Alliance. But it's actually just a garage door sensor. It's just fun.
And it gave us an excuse to put this charred piece of space debris on the wall. People are like, what's that? That's a piece of
yeah. I love. I mean, some of that looks very authentic. I mean, you nailed the authenticity of that because I've seen that, and that's quite amazing.
Well, and so if given the choice, if we could build something cool and stick it on the wall that we made, we'd rather do that than buy something and put it on the wall. Right. And so that's kind of what we've done around the house. We were she made a blanket ladder a couple of weeks ago as one of our projects, and it took us a while to find a wall that didn't already have something on it, so we could put the blanket thing up to film it because we put stuff everywhere else. But that's what we do. We just, what would be neat to us, what would be a time saver or just cool to have, and then we build it, and then everybody asks us who we copied, and We didn't. We just did it.
It's fun.
And Hannah, you're a Georgia Southern Eagle, so you attend the university there, and so do you take any kind of courses for like or have you taken any kind of I don't know the curriculum right offhand, like any kind of or through your like school career, have you taken any kind of formal like engineering classes, or or did any of it spur anything in your educational I'm trying to figure out what I'm saying here. Your educational process from a young child into adulthood, have there've been more maybe woodworking classes or other things maybe inside school or outside of school, or any, or you just kind of experiment.
What I have figured out is that I have been doing the engineering process in the shop just for fun, but I've been doing it all wrong and using terms that I made up. And now I have to figure out how to do it the actual way with the terms that like the actual industry uses.
Mhm.
As far as like classes that like taught me like a new like skill, I did take a metalworking class where I made a hammer out of aluminum and I made like an aluminum puzzle.
Right.
Um, which was very interesting. But I don't really have any metalworking tools. I would like to, but woodworking is fine. Really, a lot of my classes are dealing with how different materials handle different forces, and like if you were to bend something or twist something, which material would work better. And I've been able to implement that more into the things that I build at home. So it's just kind of like a give and take. Like I was sitting in class a couple weeks ago, and I figured out I could make like a little mini like carousel just for the heck of it. Like I could 3D print it. I could put little lights on it. I could put a motor on it, and I started figuring out how to make it. And that just spurred from looking at a circuit diagram. Like,
Has the 3D printing process revolution changed the way you both create? I'm sure it's maybe given you more of a practical way to do things. I'm guessing.
we are fairly new to 3D printing. We're still kind of figuring it out.
You're kind of old school, I guess.
A little bit, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Implement more of like the new stuff because like the industry uses different CADs, which is like computer aided design. So I've been trying to figure out how to model our projects on CAD and then print things to enhance it. For instance, a table that I would like to build is you have a crank on the side and you crank it for a little bit, and then you have all these gears on the inside and they start spinning. But then when you stop cranking, it will continue to spin until it runs out of kinetic force. I'm having to model that entirely on CAD before I like make any actual cuts to anything, because it has to be so much more precise than our usual degree of precision.
And if anyone's just joining us and they're wondering, okay, I tuned in for Savannah on Film, why are we talking about engineering and everything? This is all leading up to the big announcement that you were finally able to make recently, Hannah, that and your father, Chuck, who's I know extremely proud of you. You're going to be on a Netflix show called Baking Impossible. And so I know you're so excited, and I love your personality. You've got such a great outgoing personality. If anybody's checked out your YouTube channel, Atomic Dairy, I said it right, Atomic Dairy. And so tell us about Baking Impossible, and all this that we were just talking about kind of leads up to that. So we're building the foundation that got you noticed. So what happened? Tell us your story, Hannah.
Okay, so we started the YouTube channel around August of 2019. And then at some point in 2020, we were approached by Netflix. We didn't know it was Netflix, but they wanted to see if I could be on like a new show. And all they said was like engineering with cake. And I said, okay, that seems pretty cool. So they emailed us, and it was just like it was this guy, and like he signed his email, and it was like talent scout, and I was like, this feels like a scam. Turns out it wasn't, because he had an IMDb page. Um, the email, and then I reached out, and it was like, if you could send me your phone number, I'd love to give you a call. And it's like 8 p.m. like Eastern Standard Time. And I was like, cool, I'll shoot him an email, call me tomorrow. Shot him an email. I got a phone call immediately, and I was like, this is crazy. So I answered it, and I had a conversation with him for like an hour, just kind of getting engaged of like what I do. Like, could you possibly make this stuff out of cake? And it's like, I think so. And then there was a Skype interview, and then several Zoom interviews, and then I got selected, and I got flown out to Los Angeles. And then I filmed a TV show, and then I came home and could not talk about it until very recently.
And now you're just rolling in the dough, being a multi-millionaire.
I mean, I'm still a broke college student, but it's kind of cool to say that I'm going to be on Netflix.
What a fascinating story. It's kind of like they discovered your channel. Had you not made your YouTube channel, this wouldn't be happening. Now, tell us a little bit more about when people can tune in to Netflix to see Baking Impossible.
Okay, so Baking Impossible, first of all, the premise is you take bakers and engineers and you create things out of food that you absolutely should not make out of food. So like, for instance, an edible boat that floats, a mini golf course, a skyscraper that can withstand an earthquake test.
Wow.
Things like that. But you can tune in for the first 6 episodes on October 6th. The show will come out at 3 a.m. on October 6th. But you can also tune in anytime after that. But just the first 6 episodes are on October 6th. The rest of them will drop the following week on October 13th. But it's on Netflix.
I almost said set your DVRs, but you don't need to. It's Netflix. It's going to be there. And what a fascinating story. And I know you can't divulge any details, and probably until after the show is said and done, or the first season or whatever we have with it. But can you tell us, without giving anything away, obviously, and can you tell us anything about the process of it, and being flown out there, and you said LA, and the process of doing the show? Is there anything you can talk about without giving anything away that you shouldn't say?
Well, I don't want to give away too much of the magic, because
don't.
There is magic. But it was so cool, because like, they obviously paid for all the flights. I'd never flown alone before. I have flown before, but it was cool. Like, I got all masked up. They sent me like PPE to wear, and I had to like keep that on. And I flew out to Los Angeles. They dropped me at a hotel, and all of a sudden, I felt like a famous person. We was shot on like a real studio lot, which I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. But it was so interesting to see firsthand how many people go into making a production like that. Because like, when you see the mass volume of people who are credited in credits and like TV shows and movies, and like, in my head, there was a disconnect between like the names and the amount of people who are actually like on set. There were only a certain amount of people who were allowed to handle
because
the cast.
Different
the rest of them, like,
with
just COVID. Well, not even just that. Like, they just wanted certain people could handle us, and other people went and did other things. But it was very, very interesting. We had PAs who drove us, which was kind of cool. I've never had like a driver before, besides like before I had my license. That's just my parents. But
yeah,
have somebody employed to like pick me up, that's different.
So Chuck, when Hannah tells you your daughter tells you, "Hey, some guy who said he's a talent scout called me, and he wants to fly me out to LA to be on this show." I mean, what were your initial thoughts on that? You're like,
It was me he contacted first because I was
"Oh,
answering
okay,
your email and stuff, and I thought the same thing everybody else did. Yeah, right.
okay."
Um, because hey, we'd like to talk to you about this. Yeah, sure you did. I'm sure you want to talk about my car's warranty as well, don't you? But I did do some checking, and he does have an IMDb page, and he fully checked out. I called him, and I said, I think this might be real, and then and got out of the way. But that was our first, because we do get a lot of people approaching, wanting us to, talk about things on the channel or us help them, and we're just like, and I figured that was one of these, and it wasn't. It was real, and you got to feel for the guy, because in today's environment, how would you like to be the guy calling, saying, "Hey, I want to talk to you about being in television"? I'm sure he gets that response from everyone.
Like, sure you do, yeah. Can you
But
email me something, and then it becomes real, then you're like, I don't know.
it proved to be real, and once they were in contact with Hannah, they just took off, and they had this process they went through, and it was fantastic to watch it happen.
With the YouTube channel, and you say you get a lot of requests from your viewers, um, do they ask you to make certain things to they're like, what's the most unique thing you've been asked to make?
Last week, we have a package delivery system on our front porch. There's a box that you lift the lid and throw the packages into. And on the inside, we have a picture of the five of us, three daughters, my wife and I, looking around the corner of a doorway, kind of Scooby-Doo style. And we put that picture up on the wall, and when we built it, Hannah took an ice pick and gouged out everybody's eyes.
I saw the video where you're joking about that. Yeah.
And we put LEDs. So when a package comes, that innocent looking picture on the wall lights up like the ghost of Scooby Doo, and it tells us there's a package out front. And there's a guy in Pakistan who wants me to build one for him. And he's been messaging me asking where he can buy this thing locally. And it's not. We made this. There's no such thing as this. And besides, it's our family. We'd have to poke out the eyes of your family. But people will see things and they want to know, where did you buy that? Oh, did you make it? Hey, can you make me one? And as we discovered with the technodesks, we're no good at assembly lines, because we build the thing and then we want to go build the next thing. We've done this. Let's go build something else. We don't want to build 20 of these because we've done that. And so we tend not to build for other people. And there's somebody who wants a secret door from us right now that wants it. There's a couple of people that have been emailing us, and occasionally we work with people and build things for them if we can make it part of the channel and it works for both of us. But
Right.
This isn't an assembly shop, and we hate that we can't do that sort of thing. We're just not set up to do that.
I
But
mean,
we like our stuff.
I see such an interest and profitability on your part there that you could really capitalize, if you haven't already, on some of these creations. But it's kind of like when someone blows up on social media, and then it's like, oh my gosh, okay, I've created this product, but you're creating all these unique, very individual things, and like you said, it's kind of hard to replicate something. It's kind of like writing a hit song. You can make copies of it, but then you're on to the next thing, or you're on to the next type of song or whatever it is, or the next creation. So that's a challenge. I can imagine, if people want the assembly line thing, you're not whatever that company is that everybody orders stuff from. But so has there been anything, that a request that you said, no, I definitely won't do that you can talk about? Has been a strange request to build something that you hadn't thought of, and you're like, no, I won't do that? Or is there anything odd?
Mundane stuff. We're concerned that people are going to want us to build more of our Christmas decorations. We built a 12-foot tall dinosaur stuck at the front yard last year. And I've had people from different parts of the country message me about it, saying, how did you do that? So I sent them the plan, do this, upscale it, and build it. But we're really not set up to do that. It's so large. it requires more than one person to set it. It's one of the few projects that we have that I can't build myself when it's time to set it up. I need help because it's so huge and it weighs so much. But we really do appreciate the requests to make things because we know they like what we're doing, and we try to be fun and funny in the video, and very matter of fact, we're doing this because we got tired of doing this, so we built this thing because we're lazy, or we did this because it's weird. That's the whole reason. And
yeah, and you find the necessity the mother of invention, as they say. So like you want to be alerted when the packages arrive, and nobody wants to just hear a doorbell. They want to hear, they want to see the lights.
Well, and I'll tell you about that. We have discovered, and this will relate to everybody who receives packages. We put this box on the front porch that has a sign, "Put packages here," and only about 60% of the packages go into the box. The drivers leave the package on the box, on the steps. We had one left in the front yard last week.
Just driving by and chucking it.
And it's like there's a box with a sign on it. And so now we're trying to figure out how do we get them to put things in the box. So we're thinking things like, well, maybe it should detect somebody in the front porch and talk to them. Hey man, put it in the box, put it here, put it here. Maybe we can have it open automatically and here.
Then you have to record that. Definitely. You definitely need to see the reactions. Okay, where's that coming from?
But that's our process. We have a problem. Our packages are still being left on the front porch, even though there's a box right there. They just don't use it. So we have to make it more enticing to use it. And so we're coming up with different ideas of how we can implement that.
Okay. Well, we're going to come back in as a tease for people that are seeing the video for this. You're going to show us a part of that famous award-winning Dinosaur in a moment, but we're going to take a few announcements here, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes here on Savannah on Film with Hannah and Chuck Walden from Atomic Dairy. And Hannah is going to be on Netflix's new show coming out very soon, October 6th, correct? Debuting October 6th on Netflix, called Baking Impossible. And you're going to prove that it is possible. So we'll be right back in just a moment after these few announcements here on Savannah on Film.
Are you hesitant about receiving the coronavirus vaccination? Contact your physician. It is estimated that 97% of all physicians have been vaccinated. What do they know that you don't know? Or talk to a friend or relative who has been vaccinated and find out why they have taken it. For more information, contact www.cdc.gov. Need a vaccine? You can visit vaccines.gov or text your zip code to 438827 to find a vaccination site near you. For the information in Spanish, text vacuna 822862. Again, if you need a vaccine, you can visit vaccines.gov or text your zip code to 438829 to find a vaccine site in your area. For information in Spanish, text vacuna 822862. Disasters don't stop even during a pandemic. The Red Cross is here to help when disasters strike. They respond to a disaster every 8 minutes. They help people to prepare for disasters, and they help prevent disasters such as home fires. The Red Cross saves lives by providing blood. And now, free COVID-19 antibody testing is available when donating blood with the Red Cross. More information about Red Cross services and donating blood can be found at www.redcross.org.
To be able to go back to the movies.
Introduce my family to my new girlfriend.
For my husband, who's been a chronic asthmatic his whole life.
So I can visit friends in a different state.
So I can take my granddaughter out to the park again.
So that I can hug my 85-year-old grandma again.
We each have our own reason for why we're getting vaccinated against COVID-19. What will yours be? Visit getvaccineanswers.org for information on the COVID-19 vaccines. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
WRUU brings you the most diverse and passionate local radio programming on the air in Savannah. This all-volunteer and nonprofit community radio station accepts no money from any form of government. Our diversity and independence is made possible only through the generous financial support of listeners like you. We rely on your annual and ongoing monthly contributions to cover the many costs associated with bringing you our broadcast and web programming. If you are a contributor, thank you. If you're not yet a contributor, please show your appreciation of the role WRUU plays in your life by becoming a contributor in any amount. You can donate quickly and easily by credit card or check. Just find the donate and subscribe links at wruu.org. Thanks for listening to and supporting WRUU.
You're listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul.
And welcome back, everyone. Thank you for listening to those wonderful announcements here. We're on Savannah this is Savannah on Film. I'm your host, Ed Ciucevich, and I've got the fabulous Hannah and Chuck Walden from Atomic Dairy. And Hannah is going to be on the Netflix show called Baking Impossible. And like you said, Hannah, the show is taking people with an engineering type background and a baking background. Is that correct? And putting together on teams. Is this correct?
So it's one baker to one engineer, and the teams are made up of baconeers, which is like super cute, and I really like that.
I love that.
But the whole, like, I guess, shtick is like, this is everyone's first time working together. So like, not only are these creations really difficult to make, you really don't know the person you're paired with. So that makes things a lot harder.
There could be personality clashes or miscommunications, like a lot of things, variables thrown in, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
And so this premieres October 6th on Netflix. And if you're not able, if you're on the East Coast time or whatever it is, I never know if we're in Eastern Standard Time or whatever it's called, but East Coast time, it's like 3 a.m. For us here. It will premiere on Netflix, but of course it's Netflix, it'll be on all the time. And so it's is it a weekly show, correct?
No.
No, it's not.
Hold on just a second. Pardon me.
We're in a wood shop. Dusty.
Yeah, it's a little dusty.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, that's totally understandable, because there's a lot of dust flying when you're creating.
The first 6 episodes are coming out on October 6th. The remaining episodes are coming out the following week on October 13th.
Okay.
So like within a week, all the episodes will be available for streaming.
So it's a great time to get binge wherever you get your food and your snacks and sit down and cheer for your favorite people on there. And hopefully you go very far in it. I know you can't say anything and there are things you can't tell us about, but I know, I know it's been probably, and you're at a younger age than I am. I'm 51. So I want to say, when I say life-changing experience, I mean, it's just, it's amazing. It's an amazing opportunity and how they found your YouTube, you and Chuck's, Hannah and Chuck's YouTube channel. And then the conversation went from there. And next thing you know, you're on an airplane to LA. And then you're on the show. I mean, it's just fascinating story.
Very, very different. I really enjoyed it. I've never done anything like it. It's life-changing more, not so much like the experience itself, but the people who I've met through it. I've met some truly incredible people who are just so talented in their craft, and just getting to hear them talk about the things that they create, just it inspires me to be even more creative and to push myself further, and to hear that that they like the stuff that I make too. Like, are you kidding me? Like, whoa.
And these are people making the big bucks there, on the productions and stuff like that, and as well as the you know, maybe the other contestants you got to work with, and um, and you both are content creators, so I'm sure, you know, maybe is there a chance you've picked up some some thoughts of like maybe what the cinematographer is looking for, or, you know, or camera placement, or things you might bring back to your channel as you're, you know, are you going to go all Hollywood now on Atomic Diary? I mean, Dairy. I messed up. I finally said it wrong. Atomic Dairy.
Um, not really. I kept getting in trouble on set because you weren't supposed to talk to the crew, but they're carrying these like ridiculously expensive like pieces of equipment, and I just wanted to know how they worked. So I'd be like, "Excuse me, how does that camera work?" And they'd be like, "Oh, well, you do this part and this part." And someone would be like, "Stop talking," and I'd be like, "Oh, okay. I'm looking away. How does it work? Can you please tell me?" And like some people would tell me, some people wouldn't. But just seeing like, oh my gosh, the equipment, first of all, it's huge. Second of all, it's heavy. Third of all, it is expensive. Oh my goodness. And like the volume of the amount of like cameras and stuff that they had was ridiculous. Like,
every possible angle is covered, trust me.
yeah.
There's lighting and
was that like once you start, you won't notice the cameras. And I was like, yeah, right. They're gonna be looking right at me. No, they were right. I forgot they were there. It's just insane how it works out. Like, I mean, these people do this like professionally. This isn't their first rodeo. It sure was mine, and I had a fun time watching it and like being a part of it.
right. Now, is this maybe inspiring you to get a secondary career in the film industry, maybe?
I mean, it would be cool to do another project like this. I think that'd be really cool now that I've kind of experienced it a little bit, and now I kind of like can see how it could work on other productions potentially. But if this is the only one, this is the only one. I'm perfectly content with that too. It was just such a crazy thing to happen.
Okay.
I kept like having to like pinch myself, be like, "This is my life. What?"
Well, now if you'd like to, for the people that are watching the video, and if you're listening, you'll be able to hear this, and you know, it's just like old time radio. So, Hannah, can you show us some just around you there? Can you? Well, first off, Chuck, you owe us a dinosaur head.
Yes. Okay.
Are you going to show us that real quick?
I know I said earlier that we don't really copy other people. We did once. In the Google campus in California, there's this dinosaur, and somebody stuck a flamingo in it, and somebody else stuck a flamingo, and over time, the dinosaur was covered in flamingos. And this has been a meme in the programming community for the last decade. So we decided for 2020, since it was a crazy year, that we were going to put a dinosaur in the front yard and cover it with flamingos. And the funny thing would be that no one in the neighborhood would know what it was. So we built a 12-foot tall dinosaur. And this is half of the head.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. That is massive. You can see it here on the video.
And we had a bunch of people over here at the house who were inside of our COVID bubble. And we had a dinosaur building party. It took us a couple of days to build this thing. And we put it in the front yard, and we were afraid the homeowners association was going to come get us. But the opposite happened. We became local heroes. Everybody loves the dinosaur. The dinosaur's name is Carl. And we would look out the front window, and there would be families getting their Christmas photos made in front of Carl with all the flamingos. If I walk out there at 11 o'clock at night, someone will be out there looking at the dinosaur. And the wind blew it over. And within 30 minutes of blowing over, somebody had created hashtag Bring Back Carl on the neighborhood Facebook group. So we've been told Carl has to come back. So we're going to put Carl up, and we're building a second dinosaur Triceratops named Trixie from Toy Story. And so we're going to have two dinosaurs in the front yard this time. We were going to build Nakatomi Tower.
Oh my gosh.
But then we looked at the demographic of who comes to look at the dinosaurs, and we decided that a Nakatomi Tower that blows up on the hour with Hans Gruber falling off would probably not square well with families getting their Christmas photos made. So we went with a more family-friendly Triceratops. So we're going to be having a couple parties here at the house, and we're going to be in here in the wood shop. We're going to build a gigantic Triceratops to go with our 12-foot tall Carl.
You need to get Steven Spielberg over there so he can look at your.
Oh, and we won most original.
Yeah.
And we made it.
Can you hold that a little bit closer, just so we can see? Okay, there we go. It says Christmas home decorating contest 2020, most original. That's really cool.
And I went over to pick this up over in Richmond Hill City Hall. They told us that they wanted to send a photographer over to get a picture of it. Carl was still in the front yard. And they called me later and they said, "Why is it standing up?" And I said, "Well, it's a dinosaur. It stands up." Well, apparently when the judges came by, that was when Carl had fallen over. So they saw a dinosaur on the ground being eaten by flamingos and thought that was awesome. And that's how we won, was when it fell over.
Oh my gosh.
So that's going to be standing up.
Would flamingos eat a dinosaur? I don't know. I guess I don't know what flamingos eat.
So like they eat meat. It probably not big, but maybe like a little small dinosaur, flamingo, coming for it.
Now, Hannah, could you show us a couple of your creations back there behind you?
Yes. Oh.
And we're gonna have to describe it for those that are listening.
So for you audio listeners at home, imagine a box with 2 French doors that's orange with 2 knobs. You open it up and you have a Dremel with Dremel accessories. You have all the bits, you have all the pieces. There's like sanding bits. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Just like whatever you use a Dremel for, sanding, cutting, mitering, it's all here. There's all like little pieces. Everything's at a 45-degree angle for the little bits, so you can like grab it out and put it back in easily. The Dremel hangs on a hook. Other accessories that are bigger, like different like discs and things, are in a little tray. But this is my design. I designed the whole thing by myself. It hinges open, it hinges closed, and it hangs on the French cleats. It's extraordinarily useful. It was heavily inspired by like the Barbie dream house stuff, just like how everything has to have 2 purposes to make it more marketable. I mean, same thing here. If you want more,
yes,
we have a paint booth that folds out from the wall. When it is against the wall, it is like 1/2 inch thick. When it is fully extended, it is like 3 feet out from the wall. And there is a dust collection system with it that will keep dust from getting into like whatever you are painting. Because that's a problem in here, because we have lots of dust everywhere, because it's a wood shop. That's where sawdust comes from. You don't want sawdust on the thing you're painting. Right. So of course you say, why don't you just paint outside? The bugs will kamikaze into the painted thing that you are trying to make beautiful and make it disgusting and ugly and bumpy. So we have to paint inside, which is a hassle in and of itself. But like, it's worth it for the price of beauty.
But everything in here is modular. Our tools are on flip-top work stands that one will have a drill press on top. We flip it over, and the other's a bandsaw. So it's a 1-car garage. We've got 3 garages here. It's a 1-car garage, and we've outfitted this whole thing as a wood shop, and everything's on wheels. So whatever we're building, we can reconfigure to build furniture, or to build a picture frame, or to build electronics. We can pull those tools out and wheel them together, and then put it back away, and make good use of this space. Right now, I'm in the process of rebuilding this giant thing over my head. Flip this back to show this.
Yeah.
Okay, so over our head, you can't really see it, is a very large air cleaner called a fanboy. She calls it that. And it has a 20 by 20 inch intake. And when we come out here and we work, it sucks in the dust, and it sucks in quite a bit of it and blows around. It looks like a jet engine, so we painted it to look like a jet engine. And it's really cool. Right now, on the electronics table in the house, I'm working on a device that listens to shop noise, and when it hears a sound loud enough to be a power tool running for 2 seconds and the shop lights are on, then it says someone must be in the shop running a heavy tool. I'm going to turn on the fanboy for 30 minutes, so it'll automatically turn on the air cleaner without us having to worry about it. and it has all these LEDs that come on and blink because why not? And so, but that's one of the projects I'm working on because, and again, we needed something to turn the air cleaner on and off because we forget, and this will keep it running for a couple hours after we leave the shop and then automatically cut it off.
So Mr. Stark, it sounds like you're messing around with AI, and you didn't tell the rest of the team. You're creating Ultron.
In software development, but it just seemed to me, I can write some code to do this and to be, we call it the fan bot. So it's a little robot that turns the fan on and off and handles the air cleaning task. But it's so that we come out here to the shop and we work, and the shop does the work for us. And so a few things like that are underway, but the ability to paint things inside where the bugs from the nearby swamp can't get to them. And this is vented to the outside, so the paint fumes go outside. And the ability to reconfigure the shop and things like that help us to build faster. We discovered when we arranged the shop and we started putting the tools in places and our racks and things, we got a lot faster because we were no longer looking for the hammer or the drill. It's right there. That's where it belongs. And so the shop's a lot cleaner than it used to be. And we got rid of a lot of tools because we found out that we had what, like 7 hammers.
There's a ridiculous amount of hammers, and we only ever use like 1 or 2 at a time.
So we're like, we don't need all of this. So we just started jettisoning, and now it's working out pretty good. But the shop is painted orange because her favorite color. Also because I cosplay as an X-Wing pilot, so orange is kind of a big deal. So we paint everything orange.
Yeah, a fun little fact. For those of you who are watching, everything orange in the background behind us, we made.
Yeah.
We've been building stuff for years. Yeah, we started the YouTube channel in August of 2019, but we've been building for much longer than that. Like, I started seriously helping out in the shop when I was in the 6th grade. And like, as I've gotten older, the projects have gotten more and more complex. I mean, we built a giant dinosaur. Come on, that's crazy. We had the technodesk as like my pinnacle of things that I've made so far, but like that bar is going to get raised.
That's
but,
what I was about to ask you. Yeah. What's next for Atomic Dairy? I mean, what are some of the goals of some things you guys want to build?
Well, we're about to pass 10,000 subscribers, which we had no idea anybody was going to have any interest in what we were doing. But they're out there, and they're people we don't know, and it's great, and they love the channel. We have some pretty cool stuff planned. She talked about her coffee table. She wants to build gears in it. I'm going to be building a hotel sign or a motel sign that we have one now that's and you see that it's in the kitchen. It's Casa de Walden Motel.
Oh, yeah.
But we used electroluminescent wire, which shorts out easily. Well, now they have LED rope light that looks like neon. And so there are piles of LED rope light in there of different colors. And we're about to build a very large 1950s roadside motel sign that automatically lights up, that has animatronics that do various things. That's on the drawing board. I've got the wood pile here at my feet for 2 animal leg stools. We're sitting on the old stools that are being retired. We're building animal leg stools, and we're waiting on the committee to decide which 2 animals we're going to use. But I'm going to be cutting out animal legs next week.
Friends, an animal leg stool is a stool that looks like it is animal legs. So it looks like when you're sitting, the animal legs are your legs. So it's like you're sitting, and it is like the back 2 legs of a tiger. The back 2 legs of a turtle, like stuff like that. When we say animal leg stools, that's what it is. It is the legs of an animal as the legs of the stool.
I was pulling up the YouTube channel here, and you can, if you're watching on video, you can see it here. It's Atomic. I'm not good with the camera. I'm the sound guy, not the camera guy, but Atomic Dairy. And y'all just short of 10,000 subscribers. The secret is out. We're on Netflix. Video is up there with over 1,000 views in just 1 week. So I wish you both all the success in the world. Hannah, it's extremely exciting it'll be to tune in to see you on Netflix's Baking Impossible starting October 6th. And so everyone, you might want to check that out. And if you've got Netflix, and go on over there and find out. And you probably want to go and subscribe to Atomic Dairy on YouTube and check out you've got I think about 95 videos up there so far as a recording of this, on a lot of different things. And I want to thank you, Hannah and Chuck, for joining me here on Savannah on Film. I know there's a lot more we can talk to, and maybe in the future we can see each other in person again very soon, and tour the workshop and see what's going on there, and what wonderful, fascinating creations you've got going. So tune into Netflix's Baking Impossible October 6th with Hannah Walden. And so I want to thank you, like I said, thank you both for being here on Savannah on Film. And I hope everybody's enjoyed this very unique and very fun episode of the show. And any parting words, anything y'all want to say on your way out?
Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Okay.
This was very fun. I've never done a podcast before.
This is awesome. You're on a podcast, you're on a radio show, and well, YouTube, which you know all about. And before you know it, you'll have your own film studio built there, I'm sure. I wouldn't be surprised. And what was the hashtag save the dinosaur? I forgot.
Bring back
okay.
Bring back our
all right. Alrighty, so we're gonna end this episode, and thank you everyone for listening to Savannah on Film. Please check out our listen to us every Saturday from 7 to 8. We're on WRUU 107.5 FM. If you'd like to go subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll see the video version of this. And so thumbs up the videos, subscribe to the channel. We're also on Facebook, Savannah on Film. If you want to like, subscribe, follow, whatever, push all those buttons, do all those things that you ought to do. And anyway, thanks guys for this, and I'm gonna roll the outro as we say goodbye to another episode. And thank you guys. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to another episode of Savannah on Film, where we give a voice to the Savannah film community. Please like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter. This program was originally broadcast on 107.5 FM in Savannah, Georgia, and worldwide on www.wruu.org. Join us next time for more intriguing insights into the vibrant Savannah film community here at Savannah on Film.